These files were never meant to be public, but someone reopened them. This is the Dark Bureau. Every hour, in all corners of the globe, simple digital rituals animate people's daily routines. An employee clocks in using a palm scan, a vendor pays utility bills through a banking app, a child's tuition is wired to a school overseas. On the surface, these transactions are unremarkable, signs of progress and interconnectedness. Yet behind every tap, swipe and digital transfer, a vast machinery churns. Networks of algorithms and protocols scrutinise and score, sifting through billions of data points in the blink of an eye. What feels routine to the user is, in reality, contingent on silent approval from a hidden regime. A shadow world combining rules, lists, and surveillance so extensive and impenetrable that the vast majority of people pass through it unseen, never realising just how close they come, with every act, to being denied permission to participate in the basic business of life. But beneath this placid surface, every digital gesture is a roll of the dice. Decisions about who may join, transact, or simply exist within the system are made at dizzying speed and without notice, by unseen and unaccountable actors. A single mismatch in a name, a flagged address, or even an innocent association can trigger algorithms to reclassify an individual or group as risky. What follows is instantaneous erasure, access revoked, accounts locked, connections severed. The person or business is rendered digitally invisible, excluded from the economic world upon which all else depends. Cases of exclusion often pass without explanation or recourse. Most discover their new status only when a critical transaction fails, a poignant shock as daily existence is suddenly fractured by the silent hand of code. These are not technical glitches or malfunctions. Instead, this is the intended outcome of evolving systems powered by motives greater than mere error. Systems constructed for exclusion and control, shielded by secrecy and complexity. Banks were once symbols of reliability and custodianship, meant to safeguard wealth and enable commerce. That traditional role has been profoundly altered. Today, banks, payment firms and other financial institutions act as global sentinels, compelled as much by state demands as by the incentives of private enterprise. Their mission has swelled far beyond managing money. They now enforce international orders, police invisible boundaries, and adjudicate worthiness through sprawling webs of code. Underneath the familiar veneer of digital access, a vast regulatory machinery operates. Compliance has become a dominant business, its reach extending into insurance, remittances, loans, and even the simplest payment platforms. These systems, orchestrated by internal compliance teams and external data vendors, continuously update and apply ever-growing risk lists. Entry to the economy is now subject to a silent, ongoing audit. For an individual to be singled out by a single entry on an internal or external database is to face financial and social exile. Notices, explanations, or appeals are rare. Silence itself becomes the system's final judgment. Industry and regulators explain this transformation with an alphabet soup of technical policies and acronyms: KYC, AML, EDD, Know Your Customer, Anti-Money Laundering, Enhanced Due Diligence. Publicly, these terms signal rigour and safety. Behind closed doors, however, compliance is tailored by economic self-preservation, private risk aversion, and the ambiguous priorities of for-profit vendors. Oversight is decentralised and scattered. Large banks, regional institutions, and tech-driven startups share the same basic playbook: lines of proprietary code, lists updated without transparency, and liability pushed ever further from human hands. Approved vendors, many of whom employ former intelligence officers, develop and maintain these frameworks, trading on insider knowledge to expand what constitutes risk. The exclusive logic of blacklists, once reserved for serious crime or terrorism, has metastasized, catching ever broader swaths of humanity, including whole populations misclassified by the automation of risk scoring. This system entwines sovereign power and privatized enforcement so tightly that neither citizens nor governments can fully disentangle the structure. The blacklist has evolved from an emergency tool to the central mechanism of digital discipline, shaping the terms of entry, exit, and punishment in the economic sphere. How did technology designed to protect societies morph into a barrier for millions and into the very source of new risks and inequalities? How did algorithms, list makers, and technocratic rules displace the slower, more accountable processes of public law? And when lives and livelihoods are remade by the invisible decisions of unseen software, who has both the standing and the means to demand answers, to enforce accountability, or to correct injustice? This examination will dissect the ascent of the modern blacklist, unpacking its technological scaffolding, the powerful market and legal incentives urging its expansion, and the profound consequences, the erosion of basic rights, the hollowing out of due process, and the emergence of a new economic statelessness. The creation and application of exclusion lists was supposed to be an exceptional practice, reserved for actors engaged in clear criminal conduct or representing acute threats. But over time, the boundaries have shifted, and the tools of algorithmic exclusion have moved from the margins to the mainstream. For millions, algorithmic red flags, bureaucratic error, or an untraceable association risks a swift and silent descent into the digital void. The consequences can be far-reaching: families split by blocked remittances, small businesses shuttered, or vulnerable communities further marginalised. Markets move faster than the public can debate, and systems adapt to challenge or public discomfort by making exclusion still more invisible and irreversible. This new order creates digital statelessness at scale, enforced seamlessly by lines of code and contractual arrangements, insulated by trade secrets and complex international agreements. The scope of the system, its depth and opacity, now rivals the institutions of state power, yet is largely unaccountable. A global society finds itself suddenly living at the pleasure of lists, governed by checkpoints nobody sees and by protocols nobody voted for. Protocols that are updated, altered, and enforced with little or no democratic input. The penalties, disconnection, erasure, the loss of trust are often permanent. This is the age of the big data blacklist, where code, not citizenship, decides who may belong in the world of money, and, increasingly, in the world at all.